Hey all, it's Matt, your average gamer. This was a really fun video to do as we'll be focusing on the top 5 dexterity builds on patch 1.09.1. All of these builds will focus on dexterity as the primary stat, with a high focus on pumping dexterity up to as much as 80. On another note, a quick mention of the VPN I've been using lately, ExpressVPN. Keep your browsing safe with the best VPN out there. I have a discount link in the description below. Feel free to check it out after the video as it helps both you and the channel out as well. First up here is the Lightning Scavenger Curved Swords with Lightning Slash. Lightning Slash scales with dexterity and weapon level and gives us the extra lightning coat for even more damage. The bandits will net you higher AR and lightning affinity, but the scavenger's ability to get those extra 1 to 2 bleed procs throughout the battle will make up for that difference. They're really powerful here as we've got a no-hit on Godfrey on New Game Plus 7. Godfrey was also my test dummy at the beginning of this video as I used the bandit curved swords, twin blades, a whole different variation of different builds, and opted to continue to go with the scavenger curved swords because of the fact that you're going to get 1 or 2 bleed procs in the battle, which is going to be a huge advantage on top of the lightning damage. And now that Godfrey's gone, we're going to go over equipment and builds for each individual one. By the way, everything is timestamped as always in the description below, including exactly what the builds are specifically, so you can use that if you need to. Let's get into equipment. For equipment, we have 2 Scavenger Curved Swords plus 25 in Lightning Affinity. They have 45 innate bleed on them. We have the Raptor's Black Feathers, Millicent's Prosthesis, Rotten Wing Sword Insignia. We're using the Lightning Scorpion Charm to boost the lightning damage. Claw Talisman, and then you can use the Thorny tier and Lightning tier to get even more damage. Let's get into stats for this one. A lot of the stats in this video are similar. I think 1 or 2 is going to be different, but the main point of this video is to pump up dexterity as much as you possibly can while maintaining a reasonable amount of vigor, mind, and endurance. A powerful lightning build with the ability to occasionally proc bleed as well. And next up here we have the Guardian Swordspear, one of the best Keen Affinity weapons in Elden Ring. Actually, it's so good on Keen with an A that it beats comparable damage halberds like the Knight Rider's Glaive that receive an S in Heavy. This thing is just super powerful with this affinity and might as well scale with an S. Beat up an NPC invader here and then went to battle after. I opted just to pick a side boss for this one, first using Giant Hunt, then using Impaling Thrust. Do good damage as well as build up posture damage. The Guardian Swordspear may be perhaps the best overall Keen and pure dexterity focused weapon in Elden Ring. That's if we're not factoring in weapons with other stats like Intelligence and Arcane. On a pure dex build, this thing is ridiculously good. You're only putting points into dexterity and you're primarily focused on that. It does have a minimum strength requirement, I think, of like 17 or something. If you're two-handing it, though, it's going to be even less than that. The AR and damage you're going to get is really crazy. Don't mind the A scaling. It's more like an S. This is a very powerful dex weapon. I want to mention real quick, if you're not subbed and you're following to this point, definitely hit that subscribe button. We're going to continue to make non-stop awesome Elden Ring content builds, and we're going to cover DLC when that comes out eventually too. Hopefully not too long, sometime in 2024 seems likely. But yeah, we're going to continue to do Elden Ring content. We're going to have a lot of fun with it as well. Definitely be sure to sub. Let's get into equipment. For equipment, we have the Guardian Swordspear with Giant Hunt. Any seal will do for this build. We have the Raptor's Black Feathers on, but you don't really need it for this one. Ritual Swords Talisman, Axe Talisman if you're doing the cool charge spinning attack that it has. Shard of Alexander, Dragon Crest preferably, the Great Shield. Then you can use something like the Charge tier, Faith tier for buffs. Let's get into stats. Same stats and basic setup here. You're going to use Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength. With the Faith tier, you'll have enough to use those buffs so you can get even more damage out of the Guardian Swordspear. As I mentioned, this is an awesome dex weapon that's basically S scaling. And next up are Claws, which are also insanely overpowered as of late, as the last patch gave them huge buffs and damage. This made them a popular topic, and for a solid reason. They do a ton of damage, and you can add Bloodflayed Blade on them to hit 100 bleed without sacrificing damage. The Raptor's Talons on Keen with Bloodflame Blade will shred with solid physical damage as well as the bleed we're getting. All you need is 15 Faith for Bloodflame Blade, so it makes it an easy option to add to your Keen Claws. If you're looking for a heavy alternative, Bloodhound's Claws are excellent in heavy affinity and a solid option for strength builds. Raptor's Talons are solid on Keen with an A. Claws officially shred as of the latest patch, and there's never a better time to start using them than right now. They really are quite destructive, as they can be a nice alternative to your normal jump attack bleed build. So if you want to change up while building that successive attack damage with bleed, Claws are an excellent option. Let's get into equipment. For For equipment, we have Keen Raptor's Talons, preferably plus 25 with your Ash of War of choosing, and then we have any seal will do for this Raptor's Black Feathers, Malignant's Prosthesis, Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, Lord of Blood's Exaltation, Ritual Swords Talisman, and then you're going to want the Successive Attack tier as well. Let's get into stats. The stats for the next character are going to be different, but there is a little bit of a difference here in what you can do. Now, you can just pump up the dexterity here. You're going to need less strength than you would for, say, the Swordspear, depending on what you're using, so you can even go higher in dex. But keep in mind, it's going to cap pretty much around 80. And next up, Bolt of Gransax. Yeah, it's good. It has a ton of range. So I did this on one of my 2 less used characters as I wanted a chance to use them for a bit. This character is at level 200, but I have the 150 stats for you guys as always. This is a powerful ranged weapon that is chargeable, the lightning damage is solid, and you have a substantial amount of hyper armor once you're in the air. Beast Clergyman took solid damage here, phasing him in just 3 hits. You can buff this further with Golden Vow and Halashabriri, which will ultimately give you an additional 40% damage for the Bolt of Gransax's Ash of War. It's an impressive ranged weapon, and the Ash of War scales purely with your dexterity stat and weapon level, so pump the dexterity up as high as you can, and the lightning can destroy bosses easily from very far away. If you have the time, always charge it up, as the bolt will shine throughout the game, especially when using the charged Ash of War. There's a reason why this is still a very popular weapon in Elden Ring. This was the only character, by the way, that I had this fight available on. I always like putting this fight in my videos. I feel like it has a lot of energy to it, and it can be challenging. He's not overly challenging once you get used to his moveset, and for me, sometimes Beast Clergyman is a little bit more annoying with some of the movesets in terms of throwing the rocks, the side steps and stuff, because it comes out quick. As far as Malekith goes, though, it's not too bad. With the Bolt of Gransax, you will sometimes have to deal with more of his range attacks because of what you're using against him, but if you're using something melee or if you're going in for hits, sometimes actually staying under him or behind him is your best bet, as you can avoid some of the more difficult attacks. It ultimately goes down to the bolt here, as it wasn't too difficult of a fight. I think it took around 2 or 3 tries. It wasn't overall that bad because we were able to keep a distance from him while still getting off some hits, and he's not too many hits with the Bolt of Gransax's Ash of War. It does a lot of lightning damage after all. And as we finish off Beast Clergyman and Malekith, that wasn't too bad. The Bolt of Gransax really shines. We've got a powerful lightning-based Ash of War. This is an awesome dexterity weapon. Let's get into equipment. For equipment, we have the Bolt of Gransax, apparently plus 9, preferably plus 10. Any seal will do. I had the Knight Rider set on this character. Lightning Scorpion Charm, Ritual Swords Talisman, Godfrey Icon because it's chargeable, Shard of Alexander, and you're going to want the Lightning tier as well. This was done on a level 200 character, so I'm going to show these stats real quick if you're a high-level PvE character, and then I'll have 150 stats for you as well. On the melee hits itself, it can seem like a quality weapon with a little bit of investment in strength as far as the physical damage, but keep in mind the Ash of War is going to pull straight from your dexterity stat. So with the 150 stats here, you're going to use the Faith tier, so you can use Halashabriri and Golden Vow, and then again, you're going to go high dexterity with not much concentration in strength because we're mainly using its powerful Ash of War. Next up is the Nagakiba. The Nagakiba is great. The starting katana is technically better, but the Nagakiba has the extra reach to make up for that difference. This makes it particularly effective with double slash. You can go for Blood Flame Blade, put it on Keen for good damage, and use double slash to get solid physical damage while getting around 85 bleed as well. Nagakiba is one of my favorite weapons in Elden Ring, as I enjoy the extra reach it has while using the katana style of play. Double Slash is a great Ash of War as well, being a more physical version in the structure than, say, the Rivers of Blood. You're going to get more physical damage and a fairly good amount of bleed as well. This is a weapon and Ash for me that combos excellently together, as you can double slash your way to victory often in battle. There's other good options in Keen Affinity though, as Impaling Thrust is great with the added reach, as you'll build up posture damage as well. Either way, keep in mind the Nagakiba with double slash if you're a dexterity build, it's absolutely awesome. Considering most stats and metrics, yes, the starting katana is better, but the extra reach when you're using something like double slash, it really does factor in. You're going to notice it when you're using that, having still a good amount of AR, having that extra reach and the bleed build up too. By the way, I decided to opt for a side boss for this one. I just ended up taking on this dragon, and I like the clip, even though I did choke a little bit at the end and got hit way more than I should have. But this dragon does have a really annoying moveset with the whole rot build-up that it has. Yeah, it's got that one that rots half of Caelid, and then with each stomp and roar, it also can rot you too. And this dragon's going to constantly build that up on you, or try to build it up on you, so try to avoid that the best you can. As far as the dragon itself, on New Game Plus 7, it actually has more than 30,000 HP, but it does take increased elemental damage, particularly to fire, where it actually takes double damage. I believe this dragon will take double damage to the fire element in the game, which is actually awesome. So if you're using fire, you can destroy this dragon very quickly. That being said, Blood Flame Blade only adds a little bit of fire damage for us. We're mainly physical here. Let's get into equipment. For equipment, we have the Keen Nagakiba with double slash. We're using Blood Flame. Any seal will do. Raptor's Black Feathers is a bonus. It doesn't really matter. Listen's Prosthesis. Rotten Wing Sword Insignia. Lord of Blood's Exaltation. Ritual Swords Talisman. Then you're going to want the Thorny Tier as well for this double slash setup. A really fun build too. And for stats, again, our primary focus is going to be in Dexterity. So pump as many points into Dexterity as you can, like most of the builds that are on here. Always make sure you have, I would say, at least 50 Vigor if you're at 150. If you can get to 60, even better. And make sure you have a good amount of Mind and Endurance as well. You can chew through Mind with double slash. It's definitely a little bit of Mind for this setup too. Before we go to the end and talk about the end, I want to show real quick what you can do to NPC invaders with double slash. This is also very effective against them too. Here with the Faith tier, our Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow, which gives us an additional around 35% or so because we're primary physical damage. A little bit on the fire damage, but again, Blood Flame Blade is not going to add much because we don't have too much invested in Faith. But as you can see here against the NPC Invader Anastasia, we're able to chew through her HP, proc bleed a couple times, destroy her in a flash. There it is on the map there, and Consecrated Snowfield if you didn't know where that one is. And you can grab a Somber Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. She's not too tough, as she's relatively slow and you can actually bait her attacks. Hope everyone enjoyed this one as we went over my top 5 current Dexterity builds in Elden Ring. These are powerful 150 builds that can crush bosses while focusing primarily on your Dexterity stat. The Guardian Swordspear especially shines with its insanely high AR on Keen Affinity. If you're not on the Discord, definitely be sure to join that. There's over 500 people in there now, and if you have any build requests, you can also put them on Discord. I've been getting to those as well. And if you're not subbed and you love overpowered PvE builds, be sure to check out all the awesome builds there on my channel. Thanks for watching, and as always, I will catch you guys there.